Greetings and greetings to all. My name is Master Abdullah Ngom, and we like to take a different route on this journey of the five elements by reading from the source, from the book itself. Um, the book is combined with many chapters, 7 chapters. We have the introduction, we have the spirituality in depth, morality of sexuality, the evil of culture, evil of government, evil of religion, the condemnation of abortion, and so on. And I like to start from the introduction, and here I read. The five elements quest for the ultimate truth. Introduction, part 1 of 2. The five element is an assessment of society on a spiritual point of view, where everything is what it is, not what it seems to be. We have seen politicians in a different political party looking at the same issue of the same nation in a different point of view, and faithfully debating about it in a political campaign, and the chaos lives on and never ends. But this chaos of mispresumption is greater in religion because it is where morality is totally misused and abused for religious propaganda, and people were willing to butchering each other in the name of divinity or holiness. Moreover, the same thread of insanity goes right through cultural values, where genocide and ethnic cleansing is committed through the arrogancy of ethnic superiority. The three major forces of society, government, religion, and culture, have failed humanity. Government looking at the issues of humanity through the scope of intellectualism. Religions looking at the issues of humanity through the blooded eyes of holiness. Cultures looking at the issues of humanity from the invalid radical ground. And this moronic belief system have led humanity into total chaos and confusion. It's like the metaphor of people describing an object from different angles. One describing it from above, one from the far right, and one close up to the left. Now, when each one of them describe the object accurately from the angle on how they see the object, the conclusion of the description will be different, even though they are talking about the same object. This is basic logic, and is the source of many disagreement and confusions of humanity. Due to this indisputed catastrophic chaos to the lives of the world, influenced by these three forces, the five elements is calling out for the unification of humanity. Thus, humankind will be able to stand on the same side in order to see all the issues of humanity on the same point of view, not through the scope of these failed systems of society. It is essential for the decimation of any system of society that divides people through any identity, class, or categories. We have a society of the have and the have-not, and those who navigate in the middle. And the have-not are vulnerable as a commodity to be used in many different ways. Throughout human history, the destitute have been used to gather the mass. Whether it's done through the ideology of divinity, or through the cultural arrogancy, or through the facade of intellectualism. The pattern is the same, to promise moral justice to the destitute. From Christ to Muhammad, Hitler to Stalin, Mussolini to Gandhi, even though the diversity of their leadership, they all started with the destitute, by promising them moral justice from the elite or the ruler of their society. Now, when they gather the message across among the destitute, they will become leaders, and some of them and some of them, the reality of finding moral justice will be a moral catastrophe because many innocent souls will be suffering and humanity as a whole will be wounded by the brutality of their leadership. The five elements reveal the problems of humanity and then offers solution for the salvation of humanity. The five elements quest for the ultimate truth. Quest for the ultimate truth. What is truth? Truth is a fact. Anything that can be confirmed as fact is a truth. There are truths that can be physically confirmed, and there are truths that can only be confirmed through the understanding of spirituality. The five-element journey goes deep into the depth of spirituality, where the existence of God is revealed. The five element has enlightened my spirit with the truth and comfort my soul to having a belief of a better humanity that is to come. There was a time when I questioned whether life had any purpose, because my spirit was lost in the total darkness and my soul was haunted by the agonies of humanity, where wars, famines, homelessness, and many other cruelties seemed to be part of life. As I was disenchanted with society and everything it seemed to stand for. I blame culture and religion for the divisive system and government for the unjust political system. But above all, most of all, I blame God. I blame God, whom I was taught to believe that is the creator of it all, creator of the world. However, blaming God for creating the world that seemed to be senseless to my understanding put me on a quest of wanting to know God and the true purpose behind His creation. When I embarked upon a journey to find God and the purpose behind His creation, the first thing I noticed was a deep voice resonating within my spirit, telling me that life has a greater purpose than experience at hand. I started to travel many parts of the world. But the more I travel and ask questions, the more about God and the purpose of life, the more I seem to get alienated from people due to the hypocrisy of society. There are many open questions that people would rather not be asked. I have spoken to many highly religious leaders, but they often condemn the question they don't have the true answer to as inappropriate or immoral. However, when I often insist on answer or question they claim knowledge, I'm automatically on the list of those who will be roasted in hell. I have also witnessed how religious belief can overshadow or shadow a family bond. Because when I question some of my father's religious principles, he opened a great wound in our relationship as father and son. This is another area where religions of the world have totally failed humanity. Because when their principles are questioned, that it can bring separation among family members, among neighbors, even among nations. The tension between my father and I did not stop my quest for truth. Because if a quest for the truth is dishonoring to fatherhood, I say so be it. However, my frustration grew from the tension, but the inner voice within my spirit was getting clearer and become my trusted guide. My spirit was in a conviction of that life did not create itself. And there is a creator, God, a divine creator of all creation. But the question was, where is this God? Because after a lot of traveling and questioning, it was clear to me that this God does not have temple on earth, nor is hiding in holy books. I also realized that shouting, singing, and humming in worship places will not find this God, because I already see people doing that, and this God is yet to be found, to my understanding. I also saw many kind of mambo jumbo in the quest of this divine God. that many have the deep desire to know about. Many search for God, hoping to have a better understanding of this chaotic and confusing world. There are 5 vital questions that many struggle to find the true answer to. 1. Who is the creator of creation? 2. What is the purpose of humankind on earth? 3. How much control does humankind have of its life? 4. What is the fellowship between humankind and other creatures of the world? 5. What is the reality after death? If the answer to these 5 questions was clear as the reality of death itself, no one would struggle to accept or understand the answers. That is one truth that is understood by all, because everyone knew that if one lived, one would certainly die. It does not matter whether one is black or white, yellow or brown, male or female, rich or poor, or whether they live in the east, west, north, or south. That is one truth that is understood by all. Question 1. Who is the creator of creation? We know that human entered into this world through a woman's womb. But when you think about the process backward on how human come into this world, you end up with a question. How then the first human come into this world if he or she did not come from through a woman's womb? Most are familiar with the religious story of Adam and Eve, that they are the first humans God created. But this religious point of view is still being disputed by many. However, whether one agree or disagree with this religious point of view, it is a basic level of understanding that nothing creates itself. There is nothing that is known to humankind in this earth that created itself. Question 2. What is the purpose of humankind on earth? Culture, religion, and government are the 3 major forces of society that rule and regulate what one should and should not do. Everything that society approves or condemns is either cultural values or religious belief or government laws. Therefore, these 3 forces of our society seem to know what humankind is here to do on earth. But do they? These 3 forces are the architects that divided the land of the earth into territories and divided humankind into groups and categories. The earth is divided into nations, and then the livelihood of the people in every nation is divided into categories: the rich, the poor, and those who navigate in the middle. So too, everyone is given their own cultural identity that differentiates them from others. Then we have Christianity, Judaism, Islam, Buddhism, and so on. And each religious group is walking on its own path, different from others. The structure of which these 3 forces of our society, religion, culture, and government, are built to function upon, violate the very core purpose of moral righteousness, because they have divided what was whole, the earth, and what was meant to unite humanity. These 3 forces view on the purpose of humankind on earth are questionable. Question 3. How much control does humankind have over its life? Based on the experience of reality, it is clear that there is a force that manifests in life that far capable than one God-given free will. Free will is what enable one to choose and act without the dictation of God. If everyone was choosing and acting by the will of God, then God will be responsible for all the human thought and action, the good and the bad. But I don't think anyone would even consider that God would dictate the act of a little innocent child, murdered and dumped in the wilderness like a piece of trash, and left to rot. That is the pure act of evil, not the will of a divine God. It would be hypocritical on the part of God to give human the free will to act and choose, and then dictate their choice at the same time, and action at the same time. If human had full control over their lives, then one will not make a decision and face disappointment or outcome. But it is obvious that we all experience disappointment. So how much control and influence does humankind have its own free will in life? The three major forces of society, culture, religion, and government, seem to have the answer, because they are the authority that judge one's action, and punishment is always the solution. Murder is the worst act that one can commit, and society has a severe punishment for one who committed the act. Punishing a murderer seems to be reasonable. But even with the knowledge of the consequences of committing a murder, people are still committing the act. We have seen murders being committed by people from all walks of life. Men, women, children, adults, rich and poor, well-educated, as well as the claimed self-righteous one. We have seen people who committed murder and served the time of their punishment, and when they get released, they will doomed to repeat the same crime, possibly in a worse fashion. Are these people really committing this crime with their free will, or they are a victim of a higher power that program or influence human to commit this crime against their free will? One who committed a crime is one who is physically responsible for the act and should be condemned for the act. But if one was programmed or influenced to act against his or her free will, that would make one who committed the crime a victim. But a victim of whom? Does humankind fully understand all the forces that manifest in life? Question 4. What is the fellowship between humankind and other living creatures of the world? Should be as it is? Was humankind really granted the right to rule all the creatures of the world, as some religions proclaim? It is obvious that humankind does not even consider to be equal to any creatures of this world. And the three major forces of our society, religion, culture, and government, share this view. In many cultural and religious customs, animals are killed and for celebration or sacrificial ceremonies. And when you go to any slaughterhouse in any part of the world, animals are being legally killed in a mass under the approval of governmental authorities. Has humankind got it right in their attitude toward the lives of the world? Question 5. What is the reality after death? Culture has its mythical stories, religion has its prophecies, and science has its theories. But the answer to this question remain a mystery to humankind, because the afterlife journey goes beyond the perimeter of physicality. Therefore, any claimed knowledge of the whole journey can be questioned. Reality has proven many claim answers to this question to be in truth. In some cultures, people used to be buried with their earthly possession to accommodate them to their afterlife journey. But reality has proven that dead people cannot take anything from this world to wherever they are going. There are many discovered human tombs and burial sites that dated thousands of years ago. But what remain in these tombs are human bones and the earthly riches that were meant to accommodate the dead to the afterlife journey. If cultures thought that the dead people could take any possession from this world into another world, reality have proven that to be untrue. The afterlife journey is still a mystery to the human intellect. And religion has seized that as an opportunity to promote themselves as an institution of the insane. Religion explains the afterlife journey in profound details and promise a comforting scenario to their adherents. And in some religious scriptures, the exaggeration of the promise is more like science fiction. However, scientific point of view on the afterlife journey, that is still on work in progress. Because science value physical fact, and the afterlife journey is beyond physicality. Therefore, science are still struggling on why and how the body dies. Scientific theory on the subject is that the body dies when an unknown energy no longer exists within the body. Isn't that obvious? Of course, if the body died because there was a presence in the body that no longer exists in the body. But the question is, what is the energy? Or where the energy goes when it leaves the body? Do humankind truly understand or know all they need to know?